This is the story of a music producer narrated on the radio. Maybe some have already heard it. The story goes like this. In our family, there was a close fortune teller who felt like a friendly neighbor. He often told me about upcoming major jobs, and strangely enough, they always came true. With the increased income from advertising work, I bought a second-hand apartment nearby. However, strange occurrences began. My child developed a skin condition, and my wife and I had unsettling dreams, preventing us from sleeping. The neighbor, who was also an ant-like fortune teller, visited us and sensed an ominous presence in a specific room. Investigating, he found peculiar items, including disposable chopstick fragments entangled with hair, suggesting a curse. Concerned, he offered to lift the curse, performing a ritual with charms. Initially, it seemed to work, but soon after, mysterious incidents resumed. The fortune teller continued cleansing rituals, depleting my finances. Desperate, he proposed pretending to move to outsmart the source of the curse. While my family stayed in the countryside, I roamed between recording studios, hotels, and friends' places. After about 10 days, I returned home for supplies. To my disappointment, I found another blood-red mud ball at the door. Feeling defeated, my wife revealed that she had seen the person placing the mud balls. Our neighbor, the fortune teller. This happened in a summer day of a certain year. I encountered something peculiar. Around dusk, I was taking a nap in my second-floor room. Midway through my nap, the doorbell suddenly rang, making me wonder who could it be. Since there was no one else at home except for me, I chose to ignore the presence and continued sleeping. However, the doorbell continued to ring with a rhythmic pattern, irritating me. I decided to investigate and stealthily peeked from the window towards the entrance. I saw a lady with a little girl standing at my doorstep, both dressed in white clothes and wearing straw hats. Assuming they were visitors for some religious activity, I found it bothersome, but decided to deal with it. As I headed downstairs, checking through the peephole, there was no one in sight. Confused, I returned to my room to continue sleeping. Shortly after, the doorbell rang again, and I saw the mother-daughter duo outside through the window. I rushed downstairs, only to find no one once more, causing a sense of fear. Eventually, I mustered the courage to open the door, but there was still no one outside, just the serene entrance. Back in my room, I hid under the blankets, falling asleep amidst the fearful emotions. The next day, my mother asked if there were guests yesterday, to which I replied negatively. She then informed me that our neighbor mentioned seeing a pair of women in white entering our house. This news left me terrified, as I hadn't seen them, yet they apparently entered my home. During my student days, there was a junior in the tennis club who was quite timid. We used to play pranks on him, making him listen to our fabricated ghost stories just to enjoy his scared reactions. One day, however, he looked visibly upset, and when I asked him what was wrong, he said, "That red-eyed woman you guys talked about appeared in my room." Considering it was a story we made up, We initially dismissed it as a joke, but he seemed genuinely serious, so we decided to visit his house that night to investigate. As night fell, 5 of us gathered in his room, chatting away. Gradually, we forgot about the terrifying story until, in the dead of night, we heard footsteps in the silent room. Awakened by the sound, I opened my eyes to witness a woman standing by the junior's bedside, staring down at him. Several others who had also woken up witnessed the eerie scene. Terrified, we pretended not to see, closed our eyes, and turned away. Eventually, in the midst of tension and fear, I unconsciously fell back asleep. The next morning, everyone was shaken, as more than just I had witnessed it. When I recounted the events to the junior, he looked bewildered, claiming it was a lie he had made up to scare us. Stunned, I couldn't find words to express the perplexing mystery of the terrifying woman we had all seen that night. Last Christmas, I and a group of single friends were gearing up for our traditional road trip. However, this adventure turned into an unbelievable encounter. Unlike previous years, I unexpectedly reconnected with a childhood companion, and we decided to embark on the road trip with just the 2 of us. Navigating through the mountainous terrain of our hometown, even though the roads were paved, the lack of streetlights made the night exceptionally dark. Suddenly, we spotted a woman standing by the roadside, appearing visibly distressed. Out of concern, we decided to offer her a ride. However, her presence created an awkward atmosphere as she barely responded to our inquiries. As the tension escalated, she suddenly shouted for us to stop. Startled, we realized another woman had joined her by the roadside. Perplexed by the elongated mountainous road, we wondered why another woman had appeared. I stepped out of the car to converse with her, only to discover her eyes were entirely black. Alarmed, I hurriedly returned to the car. She then asked if her appearance resembled mine, and when I turned to look, she was staring at us with entirely black eyes, smiling. Our friends slammed on the brakes in shock, and we, unable to believe what we were witnessing, abandoned the car and fled. It took us several days to summon the courage to retrieve the vehicle, only to find it soaked inside. The 2 mysterious women we encountered that night remain an unforgettable and eerie memory of our Christmas adventure.